There we go. Yeah, man, it's the only DJ Chase. You know this, man, the pregame part of this podcast right here on WDJC, DB, DJ Chase Radio, Spotify, Apple, and our Heart Podcast. But enough of all that, man. We got the super talented, the super dope, the veteran artist, Queens, New York, Dubby Blanco. Peace and blessings, brother. How you feeling today?
Peace, bro. Good evening. I'm good. And yourself? How we feeling?
I'm chilling now. I just was knocked out, napped, and I've been going hard for like the last year. So I needed a break. I was like, let me just, because I end up working and staying up to like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, let me just get some rest today. So
I feel you. Those little cat naps in between get you recharged and back to it.
Yeah. And then plus everybody be sick. So I'm like, let me just, get my immune system back up.
I feel you. Flu season.
Word. Now I want to get in your background a little bit. You're born in Queens, correct?
Yeah, born in Queens, New York, born and raised in Queens in the city. Most of my life back and forth in the boroughs, Queens to the Bronx, Bronx to Queens. But yeah, for the most part, New York City, born and raised. Actually, one of the only people in my family that was born and raised in New York. All my family has been born in Columbia and in New Jersey.
Got you. Yeah, I'm going to ask that. What part of Queens did you grow up in?
Jackson Heights, Corona, East Elmhurst, Little Triangle, but the same town.
Yeah, for sure. Now, your Colombian background, which is dope. I actually went to El Salvador last year, so that's pretty cool. Like, and I got to see, all the cultures and everything mixed up. Your parents were born there, or did you ever go back to Colombia?
My parents were born in Colombia. Then they came over here in the 70s with a couple of my family members. But when my family came from Colombia, everybody really migrated. They landed in Jersey, different parts of Jersey. So then when my mom was with my father, she ended up coming to New York, and that's how I ended up being born in New York City.
Okay, dope. Now I want to ask, let's get into some music real quick. Who did you listen to growing up? Like, because Colombian parents are real strict, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially the old guard.
Yeah.
Not as much now, but who did you listen to growing up?
From what I remember my childhood, it was a big mixture, honestly. I always like to say, I always tell people when I tell my story, I feel like my style, the type of music I make is like hip hop mixed with a little salsa, influenced by salsa, So, but then again, it all comes down to hip hop. You get me? Because salsa originated in Africa, the drums, all of that. So, South America was still big on the salsa. And then in New York City, like in my house, all we really listened to was a lot of salsa growing up. But then, when my parents got here, they got more familiarized with like soul music, the old classic. Yeah. So it was when it's Spanish, it was always the salsa, the fast. When it was listening to the English music, it was a lot of the soulful radio, the oldies, the classics, the classic R&B. I guess when they got here, they like that sound. So if people do notice, a lot of my music is influenced by that sound. It'll have like a salsa drum or an old school sample, oldie sample. And that's what I really like to do, man. I like to mash it up, kind of get like the salsa going, salsa fast sound.
Yeah.
But a lot of my music has the old school soul vibe too, especially with the samples. And then I mash it up and I just do my thing with the Spanglish. Yeah. That's what I do because, I mix the English with the Spanish.
Nah, that's dope. So now I got to ask, right? A big pun or a Mortal Technique?
Big pun. So Big Pun was a big influence in my life growing up. And then it's funny because as I tell my story, it brings me back to a pun line where he says his style is like hip hop mixed with Mark Anthony. So, and that's basically my life. Like growing up, it was like hip hop and the salsa. So I could really relate to why Pun says his style was like hip hop mixed with Mark Anthony because he's Puerto Rican. So the salsa and the music, it was just natural. It was like just effortless. It was just natural how it happened. And like Big Pun was a part of my soundtrack growing up a lot when I was younger, and especially Mark Anthony too, because my parents played the salsa. Some of the first projects that I had that I could remember, the top 3 or 4 projects that I had that I remember, and I was super young. I was a kid.
Yeah.
Definitely Big Pun, Capital Punishment. Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Life in probably Volume 1. I think it was Volume 1.
Yeah, Volume 1's awesome.
And and P Diddy and the Family, No Way Out.
I agree with that. So it's safe to say that, because I was going to ask you, the next question is like, who's your favorite artist from our era, like the 90s and the 2000s? I would say Big Pun.
Big Pun, and Big Pun and Nas, definitely. Those are my two favorite artists growing up.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Now you started as a promoter for Stars Chubbs Entertainment back in 2001 as a promoter. Because I started about 2005, so you're a little bit, different from there, but it's similar, excuse me. But how did working as a promoter, what was that experience like breaking into the game?
Well, I was always involved and influenced by music and loved music since a kid. I'll actually leave the details for a little bit later. We could dig into that. But just having the music knowledge, the knowledge of hip hop and just music background, jumping into the scene of being a promoter, it was really easy because I was promoting for a lot of team bashes. I was even promoting for a couple 18 and over parties, but I was even still too young to get in the club. I couldn't even get. I started working with DJ Star when I was 13, going on 14. Because I was in the club every weekend, just chilling, relaxing, just cooling, learning and just digging the scene and feeling the scene. And then DJ Star, he was like, yo, you really seem comfortable in the scene and like you're young, you're only 14 and I'm bringing you to the 18-year-old clubs and I'm helping him carry his equipment in, carrying the records and everything. You seem,
paying your dues. And that's what and not to cut you off, it's like I tell artists like today, like we're veterans in this. A lot of the young artists, they have no work ethic at all. Like they just want to be rich. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Like you have to put the work in, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
especially for me, I lost my father at a young age. So I was always wanting to work to get what I wanted. So it's like I had my first job when I was 13. I worked at a grocery store bagging up. So I always wanted to make sure I had my own money so I could get my own stuff because my mom was working two jobs. At this time, she was the single mother. So like she really instilled in me that work ethic is everything, no matter what. And no matter if it's school, music, you get me, just to financially pay the bills. I was really installed with the work ethic since a young age. So
For sure. And what inspired you to want to become an artist? Because, because once again, our generation is a little different than now. Everybody's an artist now. But when we came up, you just was like either a DJ, a producer, a marketing guy, a promoter. What made you want to be an artist?
I just love music ever since I was a little kid. I got into it early. Ever since first grade and second grade, I was doing poetry and I used to sing. So I was in chorus. Okay. So I was already doing talent shows. Singing. I always used to like to write my own stuff. Even if I wasn't even piecing it together yet, I didn't know how to make a song. I didn't know song structure, nothing. So I was just jotting things down, doing little like jingles, little poetry, stuff like that. That's how it really was in the early beginning, just doing talent shows, singing, doing covers for other songs. Then just like later on, watching Jamie Foxx on the Jamie Foxx show doing jingles, like I always wanted to be involved, and I was always influenced by the media around me. And like you said, when we were younger, a couple years ago, 15, 20 years ago, everybody didn't want to be an artist. Everybody
didn't want to be an artist.
Not like today. Everybody wants to be an artist, or like some just want to jump in the limelight. They want the limelight. You feel me? Ever since social media has been more active, people
that's weird.
They drive more off the limelight and the likes and I guess the fame of it, you could say. But yeah, man, I jumped into it really early at an early age. Poetry, chorus, talent shows. So I always loved it. Music, like I said, since a little kid, that's all I heard in my house. And it was something that I always loved.
For sure. How did you come up with the name Dubby Blanco too? How did you come up with that name?
So I came up with the name Dubby Blanco. So at first, when I used to rap, I didn't really even have a real artist name or rap name. Like I didn't know how to be an artist. I didn't know nothing about that. So, you having fun. So my friends in the neighborhood, they used to call me Shorty because I was like the short one of the crew. So, I would rap and play around, and I really didn't have knowledge of what I was doing. I guess it felt right, the vibe felt right, the aura felt right. So I was just more going with the flow. It was just more natural freestyling and stuff like that. So I I grew up in a very diverse neighborhood. So
Yeah.
when I lived in the Bronx, most of my friends were black, most of my friends were Spanish. But growing up for me was kind of different. Me being light skinned and Spanish, the Spanish people never really thought that I was Spanish. They didn't know that I knew Spanish. I didn't look. And then when I chilled around my other friends from other cultures that were more Caribbean, from the islands, my African American friends, they would call me white boy because they didn't know I was Spanish neither. I just looked like a white boy, so everybody called me white boy. So in my neighborhood in the Bronx and Queens, that's what everybody called me, was white boy. And it was a name. It was an affectionate name. It was a name out of love. It was not like they would make.
Nah, people, we that era, we come from love and not, we come from like tough love. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. The nicknames, we come from that era. Nicknames, like when a certain amount of people, your family, your friends call you that, it's like you're already blessed with that nickname.
Exactly.
So, my nickname was white boy. So then that's what all my friends called me growing up in the neighborhoods, white boy, white boy, white boy. So I'm like, yeah, I really want to change it. I want to get creative. And then at that time, I was really great getting creative with my music. I was starting to get more into art, learning about the graphic design, the art design to it. And I always like to be creative and take pride in that, whether I'm creating a beat, art, a cover, the lyrics, anything I did, I wanted to be creative.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wanted to have a different name. I couldn't go with white boy. I definitely couldn't go with that. So I wrote it down, and I just wrote the initials WB, and just started getting creative.
Wow, W got you, W Blanco.
So I wrote WB, and then I cut the W to Dubby, so it was WB. And then I was like, what could the B stand for? So since they call me white boy WB, I'm white in Spanish, and white in Spanish is Blanco.
Got you. That's a hard concept. Nah, that's dope. That's dope.
I went with
Blanco. For sure. And what it was like. I know I struggle with it sometimes, but what is your favorite part about the music business back then versus now? You can make it short.
Yeah, honestly, it felt more fun. I guess as I was younger and I had more help, you had a little bit more guidance. I could focus more on the creative part of the artist.
Yeah.
Of just the art and not the business.
Got you.
And as you get older, some people start believing in your dreams. Some people start supporting you. People support they switch their business ventures or whatever they want to do. So I had to focus more on myself, the promotion, the marketing. So, I miss being more of the artist and having them do the work part. And I was like more hands-on and doing the work as well.
Yeah. Well, what is got to ask that, right? Because like even with me, like even as DJing, like people ask me, do I like DJing? I can't stand DJing now because like these phones have made everybody so self-conscious. Like people don't even dance no more. Like they just sit up, like you could be DJing your brains out and they just taking pictures. It's freaking weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
definitely, I understand that people are more locked in their phones.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? And especially me, because I don't really I be on my phone, but I only do it for business. So I don't really be on there. You wouldn't know nothing about my real life. You know what I'm saying? So
I miss, not to sound like a hater. I don't want people.
No, it's not. We talking like this is. I do this for the veterans, the OGs. Like,
I don't want people to think like I'm telling them I don't want them to reach their goal, but I feel like now it's easier. People could DJ on the phone if they want.
It is easier. It is way easier. Yeah.
Download Studio, record on their phone, put it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Put it out. It's like, all right, they think they accomplished already. Yeah. But I guess we come from that era where we more focused
on posters and flyers and
footwork, groundwork, hands-on. Like we really had to find a studio. We had to have somebody want us to be in the studio and support us, because at that time it wasn't a pass. A lot of time now people get a pass for the craft because so many people doing it. I feel like it's kind of saturated.
Yeah.
But when we were doing it, it wasn't like that. We had to work for it.
I used to grind. Like even me, the reason I became an engineer was because I couldn't afford studio time. So I was like, if I learn how to engineer, I always get free studio time because I know how to engineer. So
exactly.
That's how I started.
And now that we had to do the footwork to find the equipment, to find the piece, to find this, to find that. Now I feel like everything's just so easy. It's just there, and people feel like they could just grab it and get into it. But a lot of times I feel like it's so easy. They're not really in tune with the culture or paying respect to the actual art of it, you know?
Yeah, they're not. I do this a lot, as you can see. So it's bad out here. Like, if you see the amount of people that send me music, I'll be like, I even have to. It's to the point now I have to tell people, like, listen, it's not for you. Like, do something else. Like, be a manager. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have a certain way about you to be a musician, especially hip hop. Like, you know, you gotta live hip hop. Like,
yeah, and I respect that and I support that, man, because you got to be real with people and tell them, like, you know, if it sounds good, it sounds good. And if it doesn't, you know, you got to let them know and just, you know, be encouraging.
Or people don't feel like they should invest in themselves. I'm like, listen, beats cost money. Like, I got a light bill. I got expenses too. Like, this is my job. Like,
exactly. You pay respects, man, from the engineers to the graphic designer to the producer, everything, you know, like, don't try to take the shortcut. Yeah. And just get it off YouTube or
it's weird, you know what I'm saying? You know? Exactly. Now you dropped the first mixtape, Blonde Columbia, right?
Blonde Columbia, yep.
Blonde Columbia. My fault. I lived in the Bronx all these years, in Manhattan and Harlem and Spanish Harlem, and so hosted by the legendary Lazy K. So, like, what was your experience like when you first learned how? Like, what did you learn from dropping your first project? Excuse me.
I learned I had to grind because I was still at the time where we was printing out mixtapes.
Yeah.
We come from the mixtape era, so it wasn't even digital yet. Like, later on it got digital, but it was straight. I hit the streets grinding, and I learned, like, you had to have hustle in you. You have to have hustle. You got to be able to approach people. You got to be able to have a pitch to approach them with your music, and just groundwork, bro. Footwork, hustle, groundwork, posters, keychains, passing out the mixtapes, going state to state. Just real footwork, man. I was happy with it, man. For a long time, I wanted to drop a project. I had a lot to say, but I didn't want to do it like just beats off YouTube or off a website. Like, I wanted to do it authentic. So I spoke to my man, Anna Bulekta.
So wait a minute. So all those beats on the project is all original?
All of them are original, yep.
Oh, that's what's up.
So my producer, Anna Bulekta, at the time, we went to school together, and man, he loved hip hop as much as I did. And, you know, me and him would just talk about it every day, like, yo, when we gonna do this? And then once my man Anna Bulekta brought his MPC, he got his first piece, he got his laptop.
Yeah, no better feeling like that, bro.
It was on. Like, I had I probably had maybe like 10 songs written, but just straight written, no beat. I would just hear a sound or freestyle it. So once we went in and we cooked up that first beat, I probably used maybe only 2 out of those 10 songs, and I just wrote 20 fresh tracks.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I want to ask too, like, okay, now your first project on streaming, Family Ties, right? Now you got a record on there, Paranoid, which I like. I was bumping that. So I want to ask this, right? With the Family Ties project, it's something I'm noticing. Like, Griselda, that sound that you have on that project is a few years before Griselda. Am I bugging, or that's
not? It's true. It's and Griselda said it themselves. Like, they came back with the boom bap when people.
That way you got it is somebody heard something somewhere.
Yeah, Griselda came back with the boom bap when people said it was dying out already. Yeah. But when I was doing it, we were still very active with the boom bap. Yeah. And you know, the boom bap, it just comes from the culture of New York City, the Bronx.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Dirty Jersey. So yeah, you're totally right on that. Like, I tried to stay true to the culture, and then, like I said, Anna Bulekta, he's an awesome producer. He produced Family Ties also. So the mixtape, we went with more like a commercial sound, samples, couple rugged sounds too, but it was more soulful sample. Then when we did
more smoother, that project is definitely way smoother, yeah.
So when we did Family Ties, the album, which was my first album, EP, P was like, yo, I want to come with the boom bap. Like, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, yo, P, you know, I trust in you. And P comes from that era of, I believe his favorite group and favorite artist was Prodigy and Mobb Deep.
Yeah, so the dirty drums, yeah.
Yeah, so we was in that boom bap, and I was like, yo, once he started mixing the boom bap with certain samples and certain sounds, I'm like, yeah, this is the only way. We got to go this way, you know?
But you know what's crazy? I'm noticing, like even like when people send me music, like the sound is there, like like especially overseas, like like they love it. Like the boom bap is like the trap, not so like the trap is more like south and more clubs, but as far as like the actual internal, like the big streaming records is either like real rage, like slow trap, or like boom bap. There's no like in between, like, you know what I'm saying? So I actually quite enjoy it now. Like I like the way where music is now though.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I actually get more plays on the Family Ties album now.
Yep.
Than before, and I get the comparison. It reminds me of Griselda. It reminds me of Griselda, and I don't take offense to it. It's awesome because hip hop is hip hop, and that's where we come from. You get me? So, I take it as a compliment, and I just feel like the last 10 years, the sound shifted a lot and went from the boom bap to the commercial to the trap now. So it's more like slap sounds, and obviously, now we're like in the drill era, the drill scene for New York.
Yeah, but honestly, drill is dying out though. Like when I be DJing, like it's there for the youngsters, but even them, they growing out of it a little bit. Like they like the more the Detroit beats, like the scam rap Detroit beat stuff. So they like that kind of stuff. So
switching up now, and either way, you got to grow with the times and embrace it, and even recently I did a couple trap beats. I don't hate it. I'm not talking down on it, but I like to just compliment my fan base and the people around me. So like anybody that listens to my music, they know they can have a soulful record, they can have a positive record promoting a message, they can hear a drill record from me, they can have a Spanish record from me, and then they can hear something just totally positive and eccentric and just a different aura, like Special Moves. That's what I wanted to do with Special Moves when we were recording that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, as a veteran artist, before we get into Special Moves, oh my God, Sofaking, as a veteran artist, who you feeling today? Like, who's out of, like, just give me one. Like, who's one good? Because we got to get out of here in a little bit. Yeah. Who's one new artist that you're feeling right now?
Before I get into the new artists, I want to say, and I got to say it, one of the most influential artists to me in the last 10 years, that's not with us no more. Rest in peace, God bless his soul, Nipsey Hussle, man. I was a huge fan of Nipsey Hussle. I learned so much from Nipsey Hussle, from down to selling music, to streaming music, to being more involved with your paperwork, with your music. Nipsey Hussle was a huge influence on the last 10 to 12 years. And I really pick up on a lot of artists early, and I tend to take pride in that. So I was listening to Nip when nobody knew who Nip was, so that was an artist that really influenced me. And the game misses him, and we need artists like that. You feel me? That's gonna tell both sides of the story. That's gonna tell the ugly truth, but that's gonna tell you the sense that you need to hear. Promote that positive message and let you know, like, you got to do better for yourself. You feel me? As far as my new favorite artist the last couple of years, hands down, Lil Baby.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I can see the comparison.
I guess more because I was living in the South the last couple of years before I came back to New York. I was down South. I was living in Florida.
Yeah, that influence is crazy. Yeah.
So I really listened to more South music and picked up. But once I heard Baby, between the beats, the lyrics, his aura, his personality, how he was, I saw he wasn't like a follower doing what everybody else was doing. I really said, yeah, Lil Baby is going to be a great artist in our generation and a great leader. And we hear 6 years later, and look where Baby's at now.
For sure. Now the single Special Moves, man, with my guy Sofaking. We gotta get him on the internet. I know he's private on the internet, but we gotta get him.
Sure. My boy is working, man. He's out here working, doing what he got. We're gonna get him on the episode with you. We're gonna get him locked in for sure.
For sure. Now, is there a video coming for that or no?
Excuse me?
Is there a video coming for Special Moves or no?
I do want to do a video. We were actually chopping it up last week. I don't want to give too much away right now, but we got a couple of things planned, and we just waiting on the weather change.
Gotcha, for sure. Yeah, I got a big single too, so I'm waiting for the weather because it's cold. Everybody getting COVID. Shit's all crazy out here. So
I'm actually waiting for some snow. But y'all see
Got you. Now, like I said, Special Moves is a dope record. I actually quite enjoy playing that. I just, this too with me. Like sometimes I just be getting records. I just like to if I could listen to it then I'll promote it. Because a lot of artists, they be like, yo, I'm like, bro, if I can't listen to it, I'm not going to enjoy playing it. So it don't make no sense to have it.
You got to be true to yourself.
Yeah, like
true to your art. And like I said a while ago in one of the questions you asked me, when we got to be honest with each other, man. You got to be honest with the feedback. And as an artist, and the DJ, you got to be able to take criticism too.
Hell yeah, like
good or bad, it comes with it, and you gotta take it, man. You can't just get upset or get mad if somebody tells you the truth, man. If anything, it should push you harder, you know.
There you go. Now, one of my last questions before we get out of here, man, is independent or major? What you want to do?
Independent for right now, and that's all I know. So I can't say I've been on the other side yet, so I don't know the other side. I don't want to down talk it. I just see from what I read and try to learn from other artist situations and contracts and negotiations. And just the independent grind right now, man. The independent grind, full work by myself.
Yeah.
And that's how it is, man. You got to put in this work, and focus, and keep getting to it.
For sure, man. And my very, very last question, especially somebody like you, like I try to get my veterans to kind of like explain this to younger artists, because a lot of the young artists would be asking me, like, always in my DMs asking for advice, and I'm like, I try to do it from a way where you guys can tell them too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for any youngster, anyone trying to get into the music business right now? What advice would you give them?
Be yourself, definitely. First off, when it comes to art, be yourself. Don't be afraid to take chances. You get me? You do want to please your crowd and your following, and you'll see your lane once you get more involved. But just in the beginning, stay true to yourself, have fun, stay true to the culture, you know, and try not to water it down. Just be yourself, be honest, and always remember, it's not what you deserve, it's what you negotiate. So
facts.
The situation you in, you know, like, take your time, be patient, don't jump the gun, don't be too quick, because it might look sweet on the outside, but it might be sour on the inside. So just, you know, focus on what you negotiate and get your paperwork right, get your combos right, see eye to eye before you sign anything and before you get involved with any companies or anything like that, contract-wise.
There you go. You know what this, man, my guy, Dubby Blanco, big Queens in here, the Bronx in here, big Queens, though. You know this, man, where can people find you on social media? How can my producers, I know you work with my guy, but how can producers send you some tracks? How can they get in contact with you? Features, shows, interviews, all that. Where can they find you?
Anybody that want to contact me, they could contact me. I'm on Instagram, Dubby Blanco, DUBBY BLANCO, Dubby Blanco on all social medias. And my email is dubbyblanco93@gmail.com. So yeah, feel free to hit me out. Let's work. Let's get to it.
Yeah, man, you know what it is, man. My guy, Dubby Blanco, that Special Move single out now on all streaming platforms. I put out the DJ pack, and see, I didn't say this, but Dubby Blanco make clean music too. So he make clean music, not too much curse. He didn't think I noticed that. So clean music, you know what I'm saying? Special Moves, man. My guy, Sofaking, out now on all streaming platforms, man. You know this, man. DJ Chase, the pregame part of this podcast right here on WDJCDB, DJ Chase Radio, DJChase.net. Spotify podcast, Apple podcast, and YouTube DJ Chase TV. Yeah.
Tune in, man. I appreciate the support, DJ Chase.
Yeah.
Good luck. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
DJ Chase TV.
It's official. Come on. Locked in with DJ Chase on the pregame party mix.